Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Well, we are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast. Ready to Love, Season 7, Episode 9, Miami. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and please leave a review.
Well, as you said, like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Well, we're definitely doing a review of Ready to Love. Let's go back to the first part of what you said there. Like. Are you starting to like this show yet?
No.
We're 9 episodes in.
No. I mean, like, you know me. I don't waver. I've said no from the beginning. It's still a no for me, dog.
So you're saying no means no, huh?
No means no. Don't like it.
Hey, Karen. So Karen asks, hey, what happened? What happened was me. And so therefore, that's why we're 30 minutes behind here. But, Look, you see, I own up to this thing, right? When it's me, I own up to it.
Karen, is what it is black people can't be on time for shit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where we're from.
Even the ones that aren't from the U.S., from the islands, they late too.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, because you know what? It's here in the States, it's CP time. Back home, it's island time. We don't discriminate by color. See?
Nope. Late, and mo late. That's what it is.
As we get ready to get into episode 9, you see, episode 8 and 9, we're dealing with introducing the connections, current connections, or like Tommy likes to say, introducing the Exes to the Exes. Well, do you like that, or do you prefer, if you're doing it, introducing someone you're dating to your ex, and to see if they get a feel for them, or to your best friend?
So I prefer, and I get it. Everyone in the comments last week let me know that they alternate seasons. One season's the guys bring their exes. The next season, the girls bring their exes.
Right.
I think they should always do exes and not just friends. Because, again, if I brought Yanni on a date to meet somebody, that he's not going to say anything bad about me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what best friends do. Now, best girlfriends, I don't know. Y'all could be shady, but for guys, there's a bro code. Like, we don't say anything bad. It's like, yeah, Terrell's a virgin. I swear. He's going to say nice things. But I think that for this show, I think they should always do exes or somebody you've dated, because I think that says a whole lot. If you have 0 exes or anybody or 0 people that you've dated that would not want to come on this and help you, that says a lot about you and your picker.
Is that a shade at Jeffrey?
There you go.
Because she had nobody to bring to it, and she only said that about the baby daddies, not about any other exes, because she didn't say those are the only 2 men she's ever dated in life, because she's dated other people, obviously, as she's shown on the show.
Relationships. It was 12 years for one. The other one, how long were they together before she was like, hey, I've gifted you a baby? And he was like, yeah, I got to go.
Deuces. We were together 42 years, and as soon as I said, hey, I got a baby, he was like, peace out.
Yeah, he's like, I think we need milk and cigarettes, right? I'll be right
back. Look, so Raven says, best friend, never the ex for me. And she points out, well, if they can't find an ex that will say something, maybe there's nothing bad to say.
Maybe.
Right?
There's nothing bad to say. Who knows? I mean, I think it's valid. People could have positive things to say about you,
mm-hmm.
but at least you could have at least one person that has something positive to say about you. Unlike Jeffrey,
mm-hmm.
she couldn't bring anybody
She's like,
to
nah,
say something positive about her.
I'm not going to give them any screen time.
Nope.
Well, the guys' turn this time, as they get to the first lounge at the start of the episode, they sit down with Tommy. Tommy says, let's go ahead and introduce your strongest connection to your best friend. So that's what they do. And we kick off with Dre, who brought his best friend, Jermaine, to meet Jeffrey and Cynthia.
Mm-hmm.
And Jermaine was like, you know what? My name is Terrell, and I work in HR. And I'm going to interview you like this is a job.
He sure was going after him, wasn't he?
It felt like a job interview. It really did.
But I think he did ask I thought this first question was when he asked about children, because he said kids get attached to Dre.
Right.
You know, and I get it because he has the mind of a child.
Well, it's because they probably like to play with that little childlike thing just dangling from the top of his head.
But I think it was a valid question because both of these ladies have children. And I think Dre has to really factor that in to the equation. But I thought it was really interesting because, you know, none of them can give him a child. So he's either he's stepdaddy if they wind up getting married, right? Regardless of the case, stepdaddy may be step dog father, you know, for Cynthia's dog.
Right.
But I thought Cynthia seemed pretty sharp. And I liked her responses. We already know kind of how we all feel about Jeffrey, but I like her responses. But what tripped me out is Dre's reaction to that.
Yeah. He but are you surprised? I mean, Dre has proven to be a weird cat this entire time, okay?
He has, but I think he's that kind of guy that he has to have a submissive woman. He has to have somebody that's just going to do whatever he says, not challenge him or whatever, and just be pretty, smile, and shut up, right? I think that's what the type of woman that he wants, where I'm just like, I don't see any of these ladies being that kind of person.
Well, I don't know. Jeffrey seems more that style because she wants to be submissive more than Cynthia does, at least and in that space. And maybe it's just because of the way they gel. But the thing I thought that was interesting was when Jermaine asked, how does Dre compare to their other connections, right? But the funny thing, Dre didn't like Cynthia answering these questions too quickly because apparently having a brain is just not, a great trait in his mind.
Well, right, because if you have a brain, you already looked up in Forbes magazine and been like, I call bullshit.
Forbes would never put that dangly thing in.
Yeah, you'd already looked that stuff up and realized that's not true. But yeah, the fact that he didn't like that, and here's what he said. She answered so quickly and so assertively, it bothered him.
Yes.
And to me, that sounds like a control freak kind of a dude that is... more power to them if that's what they want. Jeffrey, I think she comes across this way. But if I'm not mistaken, that 1111 tattoo, would that say that she's a Scorpio?
I don't know signs. I know mine just because it's mine, but...
Okay. If she's a Scorpio, I've not known too many Scorpio women to be that, and I'm a Scorpio. But I've not known too many, they can, but at some point, you piss them off. And I think Jeffrey can have that attitude and backbone in her if she needed to.
Yes.
But I just think that Andre is what he's wanting is somebody that's... I mean, look at how much hell he gave Mercedes because you didn't check on me when I had COVID. And Mercedes like, I don't know you. Why should I?
The thing is, Jeffrey comes across pretty timid, but you're right. I don't think she's as timid as she portrays. It's like, when the thought was the dumb blonde, right? And I'm like, yeah, I just never think they're really as quote unquote dumb as they portray themselves to be sometimes. Because men are stupid and men will believe whatever you show them. So, if you're like, well, oh my God, how do I change a tire? Next thing you know, she's taking shopping classes and rebuild your whole car if you're not careful. Like, she knows where your brake line is.
Yeah.
Next up was Marc Anthony, who Jeffrey was on this date as well too. Jeffrey and Mercedes, and they got a chance to meet Marc Anthony's friend Rel, who kicked things off asking about conflict. I thought it was a great way to start it off. Like, hey, let's get right into it.
It is. How do you resolve your issues? I thought Jeffrey had a good answer to communicate. Mercedes felt, I might need some time. I don't believe in going to bed mad, but I may need some time to myself. I thought those were good answers.
It seemed like Rel really liked her answer on that, too, because he was like, well, yeah, because dealing with Marc Anthony here, that's what you're going to need that time. Cause...
Yeah. Well, anybody could just say, well, good communication is the key to any relationship.
Right.
I mean, it sounds great. Makes a good Hallmark card, but
or
you
HR
got to
interview.
have... Yeah, so you got to be honest and be like, look, you're going to piss me off at some point, and I'm going to need some me time. and then we can come back and talk. But I'm gonna have to calm down first. But I think with Jeffrey, her response to his friend's questions, I feel a little suspect. When she was talking about her concern about Marc Anthony and he's never had children.
Yeah.
And she's had her heart broken, really, really badly. And I was just like, wait, that was your fault that you got your heart broken because you kind of wanted to gift somebody something that they didn't want.
You're not gonna let that go, huh?
I'm using her words. She said, I gifted. She didn't say he asked and I finally submitted and gave him a baby. She was just like, hey, while you were out,
I got you something.
Not good.
So I got you a little gift.
Yeah.
It's about 9 pounds, 6 ounces.
You ever played a game called Got Your Nose? Let me show you. Got Your Nose. But that's her words that she said that she gifted him a baby. And so I don't know.
So
and then the fact she's worried about Marc Anthony not having children. Okay, you've known that. Why is he a strong connection for you then? If that's your big concern.
Because she likes the cougar vibes, even though technically he's supposed to be older than her. I mean, I don't know. I thought that she answered the whole, because Rel also came with some of those HR questions like, well, what's wrong with you, and she answered that question just like it was a job interview, like what it was. It was a job interview. She answered it that way. I thought it was just very a standard, just no real substance answer. Like, well, maybe I can be this. I think too much. I forget her exact answer because I just tuned out when she said it because it was just such a typical thing. Like, what is it that you say is one of your weaknesses? Oh, I care too much.
I just give too much, and sometimes, I'm giving more than other people. That's not fair to me, but I care. She does give off the cougar vibe, and it's like it's not full on cougar vibe, but I wouldn't be surprised if she has like a butterscotch or that strawberry candy in her purse if you needed something. That the deaconesses at church, you want a butterscotch? She looks like she might have some of that on her. But I've always felt that Marc Anthony and Mercedes had a better connection, and it seems like his friend felt the same as well.
It's interesting because remember, her ex didn't think that Marc Anthony was a good fit for her. And we talked about that last week, and the fact that, because one thing we knew about Mercedes and Marc Anthony, she even said this, like from the beginning, they had that connection. The minute they met, she's like, I knew we had that. And she didn't go into the fact that it was such a physical and chemistry connection, but she just said they had that connection. And we saw that from the very beginning with them, and even when they had their one-on-one date. But then once they introduced her ex, he was like, yeah, nah, I call BS on this. But Rel seems to like her, so we'll see how that goes. Now, Lyndon only had one woman on his date to meet his friend Troy. Now, before Morgan showed up, he tells his best friend Troy about the near story. How did he think this was going to go if he did that from the very beginning? Really?
But that's what you would want. I mean, imagine I would do the same. I'm like, hey, Jan, I want you to meet this person. I'm really interested. I think I see in the car in the parking lot. So before she gets in, real quick, I'm going to tell you this quick story. I need you to dig into this. I would totally tell you. That way, at least you can pick up on, hey, was this just a one-off story? Because apparently, even though she did that, and as crazy as all get out, we think that is, she's still cool enough with the dude for him to show up and go on to meet the two guys that are interested in her. Like, if you did that to me, I would never talk to you again. We could not be friends, Facebook friends, nothing.
If you said that, exactly what you said, she's in the parking lot, I'd look at him like, all right, so she's about to come in the door. Let me ask you a question here real quick. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? You know this woman. Okay. Hi, how are you?
So you and Morgan, huh? I guess.
Yeah,
whatever.
And I like the fact that Troy, what he did though, he came directly with those questions to her, and then Morgan, of course, asking her like, okay, well, what's any issues here? And she said her problem is that Lyndon's 5-year plan is her 2-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
What
And
do you
what
think
is
of
her 2-year plan?
Get married. Wife
Me, please.
Yes.
Wife me, please. Well, and I get that because she's also concerned that Lyndon is this bar manager working nights, different type of lifestyle. And if you're looking to get wifed up, you're not looking to get wifed up and be at home by yourself till 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I could see her concern there, but here's where Lyndon needs to say, I'm out and just go ahead and vote me off next week. Is when Troy was asking her about the whole Nair thing.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, what led up to that? Like, what was the thing? And she said, well, no, I planned it. I even looked it up to make sure that I couldn't go to jail. I'm just like, this girl is crazy.
As shit.
Crazy. And just sitting there just like, this is no big deal. That's the thing. She has no idea, like, everything that even if she was to watch this playback, she's going to be like, what? Y'all don't do this?
Here's the thing about it. And this is why it doesn't matter that Lyndon told Troy, because then Troy still had to tell him, like, yo, that's a major red flag. Even without me asking her a question before. But now I got to ask how big, those flags they have before the football games, and they like, all right, now sing the national anthem. How big is that flag? That's the red flag. That's what he's saying. And he's right, because seriously, why would you even consider? I don't get it.
I don't either. I'm done with Morgan. I couldn't be interested in her, and I'm hoping that these guys see it. Like, what? Why would you? When someone tells you they're crazy, believe them.
Oh yeah, unless you're just there for the fun, crazy time, and you don't have much that you're invested in, like Lyndon, so you can afford for her to throw bleach on your 2 outfits.
Well, he was shooting a shot at anybody that would walk by and be like, hey, so are you feeling me? Did we just have a moment? Did you look at me?
Did you look in my direction? Well,
yeah, did you just look over in this direction? I see you.
He has one connection.
Let's talk.
He had one connection, and somebody that also only had one connection was Blake. And his connection was Suanne, who had to meet his friend, LaShawn. Now, LaShawn asked those questions like about the past, and questions that Blake wouldn't have asked. And he got answers that he even was like, see, that's exactly why, because I wouldn't have asked that question.
Yeah, but can we talk about that for a second? I bet Blake and LaShawn are just people that we would all not want to hang out with. Like, you go to the company happy hour, they're the two talking to themselves at a table. Everyone else is somewhere separate. Because I just bet they're probably just assholes. If she's vibing for Blake that hard and Blake is an asshole, she's probably a little bit of an asshole too. I think it's a valid question to ask Suanne about, the relationships, the kid deal. She hasn't done the blended family with her daughters, and you have Blake and his 3 kids. I didn't realize that she had just got out of a relationship
2 years
divorced,
ago. Yeah,
2 years ago, and this is her first relationship. Which that's not a red flag. It's just wow, I didn't realize that. And they could have been separated for 2 years and then finally divorced too. But I thought that was an interesting discussion and probably good for Blake to hear, because I think he doesn't want to have anyone with any type of entanglements, any issues with their exes.
So the more I watch these two, I think this is the producers putting these two together, right? And like, okay, Blake is the villain. We need him to be here. We need a reason for him to be here. Suanne, come here. You're not making a connection with anybody. This is going to be your connection right here. And you can tell, because when she's like, oh, and I got a kiss. That terrible peck was not a kiss, okay? There was no substance in that. And from then on, you haven't really seen them, have any real intimate interaction at all, right? There's been no chemistry there.
I thought they did last week when Blake didn't get voted off.
What was there? What is it? Because obviously I missed it completely.
So at the end last week when Suanne took him to dinner or they went on the date for her to tell him that the ladies have some concerns, and that he had to step up a bit. And so after that, I think after the whole deal, when he wound up getting able to stay because we all knew he would, and Blue got kicked off, I think they did a little bit of a mugging down sesh.
Okay, well, so twice. Okay, I got it. That's really strong.
Just saying, there was something.
Your favorite pimp on the side, Tony, had Eminem on his side, Morgan and Marcia, and his friend Antron, or Tron as we call him. The first thing I thought when they all sat down was maybe Morgan and Tony actually do belong to each other, because Morgan was mad that Marcia was even there. Like, wait a minute, you know how this thing works.
Well, Morgan has a really hard crush on a pimp named Slickback. I mean, Tony. She has a big crush on him. And she even said to a fault, right?
Yes.
But that whole date with Tron, I thought Tron asked some really good questions. And, Morgan, again, the 2-year plan, wife me, please.
Very consistent about wanting to get married in 2 years. Very consistent.
Yeah. Marcia wants children. I think Tony already has children. Mm-hmm. And so she doesn't. So there's that
I don't
dynamic.
think Morgan has kids either.
Morgan doesn't have any kids.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
She's been what's she call it, a mom aunt or something like that?
Mom T.
There you go. Yeah, she's been a mom T, but she didn't have any children. But she wants to be wiped up in less than 2 years. And so I'm assuming that means she might want to reproduce.
And God forbid those kids mess up, boy. Especially if they have long flowing hair. Nair in the hair.
Could you imagine? I wouldn't even let her give me an S curl. You can't even put a kid in my head. I don't trust you.
Matter of fact, if we're just sitting there watching TV, do not rub my head.
I bet Babe, come on, it's burning. Let it burn. Babe, it's burning. Let it burn. Yeah, she's crazy.
Tell me her. Let me cool it down for you.
Let it burn. Where were you last night, huh? Where were you last night? It's crazy. But what's weird is Tron thought Marcia had the best answers, but felt Morgan was all about Tony, which we saw that.
Yeah, because crazy knows crazy. Plain and simple. Let's look. There's no need to sugarcoat this. There's no need to PC this. Crazy knows crazy. There's a reason why those two, they have this connection. You see it. We've even seen the preview for next week when we see Tony ready to go. But Tony's been doing it with Lyndon the whole time, right? So we know that. Then Morgan proved her crazy with the whole Nair story. Then even though all the other women were shocked and surprised and amazed that she would even do such a thing, and she's like, what? Y'all don't do it? Yeah. Crazy's crazy.
That's the type of couple that you don't want to play spades against.
No.
Because they're going to cheat.
Well, not only cheat, when they lose, you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
They're liable to fight you as they're liable to fight each other. As they're liable to say, you know what, that was a great game. We have to leave now. And then burn the house down. Yeah. You don't want them together because they're just gonna egg each other on. But man, you don't want them to mess up anybody else's life.
Or they're gonna wind up ruining the party because Tony's gonna yell, "Bitch, did you just cut a club? You just played a club," and be ready to fight her because she reneged, and they had to lose a book.
On an Island 7 says, I don't see anything of substance that convinces me that Morgan is wife material. If anything, she's demonstrated that she doesn't have any of the tools. Well, she's got her Nair. Does that count? I'm sorry, I'm never letting that go. Because that's
no, she knows how to do hair removal. We know that.
Because you are so right. The fact that she looked this up, the fact that she did a research to see, will I go to jail if I do this? No?
Yes.
Done.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Chocolate Sooner. Jasmine Sullivan, bust your windows out your car. And Raven says, Tony and Lyndon fighting over Morgan after that near incident is a definition of insanity. Yeah, but you know what? Lyndon is not exactly play with a full deck of cards either. So that's why when this happens next week, which we're looking forward to the drama of next week, I think it's going to be interesting.
Well, but I think Tony is doing, her crazy matches his crazy. Mm-hmm. And that's why he likes her.
Exactly. So, the guy that started off the entire season really slow came out with a bang to the point that, you had two guys who only had one date. He said, I'll pick up the slack. And Anthony had 3 dates. First of all, he brought his friend Miriam, a.k.a. the Truth Teller, who got to meet with Cynthia one-on-one at the crib, and Mercedes and Suanne together. Mm-hmm. Let's deal with her meeting Cynthia first. I thought Cynthia did a great job answering the questions, kind of like Anthony did with her child's father, her children's father. There you go. Yeah,
she did, but Cynthia lied.
Uh-oh.
She's like, I met my ex when I was 12, mm-hmm. and we haven't been together since 2014, mm-hmm. and I'm a grown woman. I know how to push back. I'm just like, stop it. Your ex is going to be a problem. Anthony's already seen it. He knows to be with you, he's going to have to deal with your ex-husband, and that's going to be an issue. Don't make it seem like, yeah, we broke up a long time ago. We're the best of friends, and everything is great. He's going to welcome Anthony with open arms. No, he's not.
Okay. But we just talked about last week the fact that we like the fact that her ex did that because it's his kids, and he even respected Anthony's responses to him. You can see that even though he kept trying to push, he had to play the bad guy role. But when Anthony was like, "Well, I don't expect you to trust me now. I mean, if you did, I'd have questions about you."
Yeah, and here's after last week, I thought more about our conversation and mm-hmm. about that episode, and the fact that he had to let everybody know and let the world know, mm-hmm. hey, I taught her a lot of things.
Yes,
she wasn't like this until mm-hmm. she got with me. That's a power move on a whole different level, like on a crazy level. It's not that he slowly let it go. He's trying to let the world know that, hey, I was her first in everything. And so that's why I think he's going to be a problem.
She also said she met him when she was 12,
right?
Not when they were 12.
What do you think? He was, 20?
No, I didn't call the man R. Kelly, but he was probably he was probably about 14, maybe 15. He was older than her.
Okay, could be. Mm-hmm. Could be. But it's just still, I feel like the fact that he did that, where the other guys from last week that were the ladies, none of them made that quite power move, mm-hmm. That this guy did. And so I thought more about it, and I'm going back to change my decision and think that he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, and she does it. Yeah, okay. Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm trying to fight for Cynthia and her statement. Because I do believe she stands up to him. I mean, she probably loses every time she does, but I don't doubt that she stands up to him. And sometimes it's like he looks like the guy that will argue. I could be dead wrong and like, nah, I'm still standing on this point. This is what it is. And he looks like that kind of guy that's just gonna stay there, dead wrong, dead strong in his wrong facts and stay there. So you're right. It's gonna be a problem, but I think Anthony is probably man enough to be able to handle that. Now you get to
he can handle T-Pain. He'll be fine.
Talk
to me.
Got to the other date, which is with Mercedes and Suanne, and they got to meet the Truth Teller, a.k.a. Miriam. And Suanne comes out to bat, just saying, "But mm-hmm. Anthony wouldn't give me any answers."
Well, I'm glad she spoke up and said something because I don't recall her saying that to him, on the show, at least that we've seen, to mm-hmm. say like, "Hey, dude, I'm interested in you, but I'm not getting anything from you." And I do think that he has to step up and be able to say something to her. So I'm glad that he finally was like, "Hey, I like you." Mm-hmm. And I can't believe that after that date when he brought her to his house, how did he walk away from that thinking this went really well? This was an awesome date night. Check box.
I don't know either, but maybe it was that dance in the middle of the house. That's what it was. He's like, you know what? I know that's what took it over the edge. But, you know, I like what she said. What she said, she doesn't. You know, I've done this part, I've done this, but I don't want to date to potential.
Mm.
And I like that. You know, it's like she's like, I've done that route before, and I don't need to date for potential anymore. I need to date for somebody who's ready for this. And if she feels he's not ready, whether she's right or wrong, then you know, so be it. And if that's what you feel, I can't fault her for standing in that.
Well, I get that too, but I think if you look at who Suanne is in the mix with,
Yes,
she's on two different ends of the spectrum
very.
of the kind of guy. And maybe Blake's the normal type of guy that she goes after, although
Right.
you wouldn't be able to tell from her ex last week. But maybe Blake's the kind of guy that she's normally going after, but Anthony's probably the type of guy that she needs.
Difference in what
And
you
so-
want, what you need. Yes.
Yeah, maybe Anthony's what she needs, and maybe she's not. But maybe she knows it because she's thirsting for him to tell her he likes her.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. That's just a thought.
So what about Mercedes? Because I thought it was very good for her to be upfront about her apprehension with Anthony based on his daughter. Like, yeah, you're gonna need a lot, and you know, I'm still out here running these streets, even though I'm not trying to run the streets, but I still want to go around and do this, and I don't know if I'm ready to be somebody's stepmom.
Well, I think that Mercedes should just go ahead and tap out, or just focus on Marc Anthony, because I truly believe that if you have reservations about dating people with children, just don't, because it's a lot of work, right? And then it's sacrifice.
Yeah.
That the person, if I'm dating a woman that has kids, I know that time away from her children to go hang out with me and get to know me, it's valuable.
Yes.
And I don't need to just waste her time. And I feel like Mercedes recognizes, especially talking to all these people with children, how big a deal this is for Anthony to already have a child. So if you don't want her, and then they have to meet, if you don't want all that type of responsibility, don't get involved with somebody that has children. Focus on Marc Anthony, which is who I think she wants anyway.
Did you notice that she said if he wants more kids, and I don't have kids, if he wants kids, then we can either adopt a kid or be dog parents. She never said anything about her actually having a child.
Exactly. She
So
doesn't want to.
is it that she doesn't want to, or is that she can't?
Well, I don't know her situation.
Right, exactly. I just
Right.
thought it caught me off guard when I heard it. I was like, wait a minute, it just stood out, and I'm like, she didn't say about having kids, because usually that's what women will say. You'll hear women say, well, if he wants kids, yes, I'm open to having kids. Or yes, I want to. But she said everything except her carrying a child and just
Right.
into adopting or other things, right? So
Right. Valid. Yeah.
So that just kind of stood out. So I just wondered about that. You know, after that, they had the guys' lounge. Not much happening there except Tony, of course, cutting his eyes when Lyndon said he had a date with Morgan. Like he didn't know. I mean, he's only been cutting his eyes at Lyndon and shading him for the last 3-4 episodes. But we get to the elimination, and Anthony goes on a date with Suanne, and Marc Anthony goes with Marcia, who's like, uh-oh, I see the Grim Reaper because we ain't had no connection, period. Why is he asking me out?
Exactly. So I mean that's your cue. It's like, oh well, damn. Hi, Marc Anthony. Nice to see you. I'm gonna order some wings to go before you get to talking. Let me hold on to that, Marc Anthony. Get me some wings to go. All right, tell me what happened. How are
Right.
you? Yeah, I saw the two that got put into the hot seat, and I was thinking that it was going to be Morgan when Tommy made that comment to Tony. He's like something about, she's got to get in that hair or whatever when the guys finished deliberating. So I was
Right.
like, oh, shoot, is it going to be Morgan in the hot seat? And let me see if she goes off. But once I saw it was Marcia and Suanne, I'm like, well, no one's vibing with Blake.
Right.
So, and Blake's the drama, the enemy. So they're going to keep Suanne. I just felt it.
You know, I just saw something, right, that was interesting. Raven pointed out here, and we'll circle back to that. So let's continue on it. But it just caught me by surprise, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh man, I didn't realize that. So we'll come back to that in a little bit.
Okay.
Suanne getting to stick around. What'd you think of that in that space of her being able to? You are still ready to love. We know they need her for Blake, right? That's it. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's for Blake, because if she were to be gone, none of the other ladies there want Blake. So what's the point of having Blake there?
Yes. If Blake goes, Suanne's gone. If Suanne's gone, Blake's gone. We know that.
Exactly.
But they're gonna let these two evil twins ride out together. They're gonna do a couple elimination. We've never done this before, but this week we're gonna eliminate one couple.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think Suanne, she still has Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
So if Blake is gone, she still has one other shot.
No, let's be honest. Anthony, his best bet right now is Cynthia. Just like even Miriam told him that. Miriam said, Cynthia is the one. Out of all of them, this is the one. And we know Cynthia had her connection with Dre. Run. Do not even think about going back by that way. Let him stick with Jeffrey, and that'll be fine.
Possibly. I mean, it makes sense what you're saying, but then again, this is reality TV, and this is Ready to Love, which is worse than a lot of the other ones. So who knows where they could go?
Yo, speaking of where they could go, Motown Investor has a great suggestion when she says Blake or Married at First Sight would be hilarious.
God, why would you want to do that to another woman? Like, that would be... You know what I mean? I think Blake on Love is Blind would be better, because at least he gets to pick and they get to pick him.
Uh-huh.
But Married at First Sight, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, just to come down the aisle and they got Blake. Oof.
Right. Well, they'll be like, oh, it's an attractive man. And then, by about 2 days in, son of a, maybe after the first conversation, what did I do?
No, the wedding night when he's going to talk down to your family because they're all beneath him.
Yes. That would be an interesting one, though. I would be. So Keedy pointed this out here. Said, I just think it's special that Terrell was actually thinking about this show after it aired. Because you were doing some retrospective. What? No, there's no timeout. You said this. You said.
I did.
You're the one who came out of your mouth, and you said
did.
you spent some time and you thought about this.
I did. I thought about it when I was replaying it and re-listening to the whole thing on Sunday. Because
So you listened to
we
it
get
again,
done
so you
Friday
look at
night. Well, we go live. So normally we used to just record it so I could watch the recording, and I try to catch, is my background okay? Did I do this? What are my mannerisms? So this is for me to get better. And so that Sunday, I'm just kind of replaying the conversation. I'm like, I think that he still likes her. Or he has some type of control over, and that's why he said that. That's where that came from.
Okay. We'll accept that answer.
Good. Yeah, I don't like the show. I think what she's trying to say is I'm thinking about it. I really like it. Now it's a part of me. No.
Matter of fact, we may just have to call, call that answer this BS.
This bullshit.
We may just have to do that just on that answer. Now, here's something that I didn't realize. Raven says that Susu is a great lawyer in real life with that Shanquella case. I give her credit there. And I was like, really? So I started looking this up, right? And indeed, attorneys working with Suanne Robinson is actually working on the Shanquella Robinson case. You remember Shanquella Robinson down in Mexico, her friends.
Oh, God. I was like...
The one out of Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Suanne and Ben Crump working on that case. So.
Oh, wow. And so they haven't gotten close to resolution on that yet with the people that were there? I kept trying to follow the story, and at some point I stopped seeing stuff and I forgot about it.
Well, that's what happens in the news cycle. We'll see it.
Yeah.
It's top of the news, but the way the cycle goes, at some point, hopefully we still keep getting updates. But usually you have to go searching for it yourself. And I mean, as we do our regular episodes, we definitely need to dive into it some more and see what the progress is anyway. So.
Yeah, true that.
And as Raven has pointed out, no resolution, sadly, as of yet. So.
Yeah.
And with the BBL couple that went down there, BBL foursome or fivesome or whatever it was, who went down to Mexico and gotten that with the kidnapping and couple, that's also taking a whole nother, but that's also bringing back the Shanquella case back into the public's eye, because for the family it's always been there. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. But, we'll get to that in one of our other episodes because come Monday, we're back with episode 125. Wednesday, we're back with Married at First Sight, season 16 episode. This will be episode 11, right? Yeah, because they were in sync. Married at First Sight and Ready to Love were in sync till Ready to Love decided they wanted to throw things off kilter by having a 100th episode special, which you were happy for that week, but it's just thrown everything off.
Yeah, it would be episode 11.
And then next Friday, we'll be back here for, again, Ready to Love, Season 7, Episode 10, The Drama Continues.
What time are we doing this next Friday?
Whenever the show's over, 15 minutes after, when we get done. Look, things happen, man. Look, things happen.
The look in your eyes, you're like, if we weren't live, you'd have cussed me out, and we'd have had to restart.
Well, that's the beauty of this thing. I don't have to. You already knew the words.
I know the look. I'm just like,
you know the look. You know the words. You know the words that accompany the look. So it's fine. I don't even have to say anything. This is great. This is why we're still friends. Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Justel, and at RGRTPod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit from the internet. We'll talk about it on the regular show.
It's a Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hold up, I can't find the button.